Yeah. Now, hi everyone. I hope you can hear me. Sorry, I was mute for a second there. But yeah, I was just saying hi to everyone who's watching us live. Hi to the people who's also joining us directly from our Discord server from lablab.ai. So we're in live stage. If you want to come join the conversation, you can just jump there. Yeah, this is another entry for our bi-weekly AI news. So we're just going to be covering quite a few things that happened over the last 2 weeks and a half, sort of. And at the end, we're gonna dive deeper in a conversation about the current state of the future of AI. So definitely stay tuned. I would love to hear what you guys have to think about this. But let's start with what is my favorite news from these last 2 weeks, and it's that we have Nobel awards for physics and for chemistry, and they're both related to AI. So that's pretty cool. So for those who don't know, I studied physics as a bachelor, so I have a little bit of a soft spot for the science itself. So I work, as you can could have guessed, very deeply with AI. So seeing these two fields of study collide so massively was like, I don't know, I felt very happy about it. So I'm gonna give you a small summary on what the Nobel Prize for Physics this year is and who was it awarded to. So it was awarded to Geoffrey Hinton and John Hopfield for their pioneering contributions to artificial neural networks. John Hopfield is from Princeton University and he developed the Hopfield network, which is a critical step when modeling biological systems. This includes systems like the brain and how it processes information. His work laid the path or the foundation for many more advancements in machine learning. And then we have Geoffrey Hinton, who's often referred as the godfather of AI, which is a pretty cool nickname if you ask me. And he's best known for his role in developing deep learning. He particularly developed the backpropagation algorithm, which is the cornerstone of training a neural network. So overall, their work is transformative and has had a huge impact on AI and its applications across many fields. So this is awesome. Um, just as a reminder for those who don't know, I believe a Nobel Prize can be shared with top 3 people, and of course, this is the highest recognition when it comes to science. And it also comes with a prize cash of I think $1 million. I might be wrong, not super up to date on this, but overall, super cool announcement for this week. And like I said, also for chemistry, we have here the press release from um, the Royal Swedish Academy of Science, which is the body that decides these prizes or these awards. And the Nobel Prize for Chemistry was awarded to David Baker, Demis Hassabis, and John Jumper. I hope I'm pronouncing those names properly because I'm not super sure. Um, so you can see there that David Baker is from the University of Washington. He's recognized for his success in designing entirely new proteins, which is both crucial for biological processes and also super complex, more than like most people would assume. And um, his creations have like a lot of potential in medicine and drug development, vaccine, and nanotechnology. At the same time, we have Demis Hassabis and John Jumper, which both are from Google DeepMind, and they were awarded or honored for their development of AlphaFold 2, which, for those who don't know, because that's quite a popular name out there, this is an AI system that solves the long-standing problem of predicting protein structures based on amino acid sequences. Again, this is very complicated. So this breakthrough basically revolutionized biological research, and it helps, of course, to have a better understanding and proteins, their functions and applications, like antibiotic resistance, developing enzymes, for example, for plastic degradation, and many other things. So overall, they cracked the code for proteins, which is pretty cool. I've been hearing about AlphaFold for a while already. I know it's this like very complex model. So it's very cool to see that AlphaFold 2, and of course the research from David Baker won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. But yeah, that's all for prices for this week's section. Now let's talk about some announcements. We have, well, let me move this here for a second. Yes. So we have Anthropic introducing their message batches API, which is basically a cost-effective way of process large volume of queries asynchronously. Now developers can send batches up to 10,000 queries, and it will take less than 24 hours and cost 50% less than the standard API call to make this processing. This is available today in public beta. This was released on 8th of October, so what, 3 days ago? And it has support for Claude 3.5 Sonnet, Claude 3 Opus, and Claude 3 Haiku on the Anthropic API. You can also use it if you're using Amazon Bedrock, and also if you're using Google Cloud's Vertex AI from... Oh no, this is coming soon, sorry. So, okay, quick summary of what is this. For those who don't know, the concept is not new. For example, you can think of OpenAI, which might be the news or the name or the announcement that you've heard. They also have similar service, and they announced it. I don't remember how long ago. Honestly, it's very hard to keep track of time when it comes to all of these announcements. But the whole point is that you're able to use their API, so basically calling their models for whatever you want. And if your use case doesn't require like an immediate response, and you can afford to, let's say, I don't know, you're building an app where you send whatever type of messages, and then you don't need it immediately, you can use it after 24 hours, and you can collect your users' responses and then send them as a batch, again, up to 10,000 queries in this case. And you will get your responses normally within 24 hours or like in less than 24 hours. And instead of paying the normal price for the API calls for these 10,000 queries, you will pay half, which again, it might not sound like a lot, especially since prices of AI usage has been like decreasing incredibly fast. But again, when we're talking in batches and very large amount of queries, it might make a very big difference. So in here we have the pricing for input, so 1.5 input. So for batching, sorry, the pricing for batching for the most expensive is Opus with 7.5 input per million token and 37.5 million output per million token. Again, so if you were to use normal conversation like API, you would pay double of this. But yeah, that's just a cool announcement, useful for developers. So that's why I'm telling you, so you all know. We have now, let's move to Meta, another giant in the AI space, and we have Meta Movie Gen, which is basically introducing research for media foundation AI models. That's how they call it. They have a nice hippo in this video, which I think it's pretty fitting given the recent popularity of this very famous hippo online called, I think it's Modeng. So that's nice. Overall, video generation, again, this is research and input to produce custom videos, sounds, editing existing videos, or transform your personal image into unique video. In here we have some examples. We have even the text input, which is nice. It gives us an idea of what you can generate with simple text input. So a girl running across the beach, holding a kite. She's wearing jean shorts and a yellow t-shirt. The sun is shining down. So it seems pretty well. The physics of it also seem to be relatively okay. I mean, I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10, but of course this is a very hard task to pull off. But even you can see like how her steps make her mark in the sand. So pretty detailed video. We have here another one, woman sitting on the grass of pumpkin patch. She's wearing a scarf and holding a cup. and a bunch of pumpkins in the background. And this was the picture that was giving us reference. I'm imagining it, and it looks pretty good, I think, other than the longer hair, but very, very nice. Let's go quickly. This is Thunderclack. Okay, I don't know if you can hear this. Uh, I hope you can. If not, it would be nice if somebody lets me know. But otherwise, this is thunders cracking very loudly, and it sort of sounds like that. Might sound a little bit more like a drum to me, but again, this is cutting edge technology, and let's not forget how complex it is to build these things. Here we have transformation video, pretty cool. Even has like leftover bubbles. I like that, and that was full circle. So here we have more examples how to generate video from text. Uh, like I said, I wouldn't give 10 out of 10 to the physics of it, but it's still very impressive. Uh, I've noticed, at least personally, that it seems to have, or it seems to do a better job at most textures that are not as like smooth as human skin can be. Because, for example, let's go back. You can see even in this one, but let me show you this one that I think has a better like showing example. For me, it looks too smooth, almost as if like someone is wearing a filter. And at the same time, you have this like koala that looks very good um, with this not so smooth texture. So just something I realize and I find interesting. Here we have more use cases. Sorry, I'm taking so long showing you these, but I think it's pretty cool. Like all this you can do. Like you can put outfits in penguins, in Victorian outfits, which I can see a lot of applications that might need to do that. Some other use cases. Can add rain. That's really nice. Change the color. Yeah, this is pretty cool. With this technology, like I can see it being useful in, of course, the movies and entertainment industry. For example, I can think it would have been much more easier to record a live action of Clifford the Red Big Dog with one of these. But yeah, more stuff. These are like sound effects. Again, I don't know if you can hear. I'm gonna play two, just so you, if you can hear, you can also experience it. Actually, I can't hear myself, so no. Okay, not sure what's going on, but you can go yourself. You just need to Google AI Meta Movie Gen, and I'm sure you're gonna find it. And you can download the paper, of course, for those who want to know a little bit more about the technical details of it. That's what these research papers are for. I definitely encourage you if you're interested about understanding how these things work. Of course, you might need a little bit background knowledge to be able to get through the paper. But okay, enough of Meta Movie Gen. Very cool, very interesting. Let's move to, actually, I'm going to flip this to another announcement because we're in the announcement sections right now, I guess. And is Flux, or better say Black Forest Labs, it's announcing their API. This includes Flux 1.1 Pro and their BFL API. So for those who don't know, Flux is this model that became very popular, like very fast image generation model. It's actually the model that's behind the image generation of Grok from XAI. So not Grok with the Q, Grok with the K. Have a lot of confusions because of those two. And basically, you can now use it through their API. It's faster, better, also easier to use, superior speed and efficiency. In here, you have some benchmarks of their different models. Yeah, Flux 1.1 Dev is the one I remember using, and now we have Flux 1.1 Pro, and you can see there's a considerably higher score. More metrics on the performance. I might skip this a little bit. And there you have their other APIs. So that's pretty cool. I think I'm not sure if this is how you read this, but I think it's 2.5 cents or credits. I think it's credits per image. Not sure what the pricing on their credits is, so that might be worth checking if you're interested in using it. Okay, now not exactly an announcement, more of an update. This is an update on Reflection 70B. I talked about this, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was this model, which basically was a fine tuned version of Llama 3.170B, which was showing state of the art performance in several benchmarks, like very, very, very good performance. Again, state of the art. And then they released the model, and there was a huge controversy, if you could call it that, because the scores from the benchmarks were not reproducible. What does this mean? That sure, they reported their benchmarks, but then when an independent third party wanted to use the model and check that the benchmarks were actually that good, they were not able to reproduce the same benchmarks, which of course creates a lot of speculation about people assuming if they fake their benchmarks just for to get like hype and to sell the whole idea better. But finally, they released on the 2nd of October an update where they explained that there was a bug in the initial code for benchmarking where the scores for math and GSM AK had some skewed, like they were skewed by a few percentage point on these benchmarks. So you can see here the real benchmarks and the original report benchmarks. If you notice, MMLU is slightly better actually, and then you have very, very small discrepancies. Considerable, of course, we're talking about benchmarks. They should be very, very exact. But let's say like zero point 0.3 for GPQA, less than 1% for human evolve. In math, it actually performs better as well, considerably better. In theory, like this is a reported. Remember, this one is a reported one, and this is the real one, so to speak. So these two were the ones with the sort of larger difference, where it was like over reporting, if you could say, call it like that. Their scores. So yeah, they explained what the bug was. So anytime the API returns an error or a response other than yes or no, it was counting as a correct score. So this created this small discrepancy in the reported scores. There was also testing for data contamination. They didn't find any significant. So yeah, that was the update on this controversy on Reflection 70B. I mean, hopefully they can carry on and develop technology like everybody else, but I guess this might have some heavy consequences in the long run for the company. But okay, let's move into something pretty cool that I'm pretty sure most of you have seen, and is this notebook LM, which they added audio and YouTube support. So other than just the audio and YouTube support, basically what I wanted to talk about is their ability to create podcast like audio. So basically, this allows you to create like study notes, or like you can do a lot of things with Notebook LM. I'm not gonna dive too deep into that, but I do want to show you how these audios generated look like, because they're very impressive. And if you like, I'm gonna make this bigger, hopefully everybody can see. Um, if you like these, if you like listening to podcasts and you also are like somebody who learns by listening, this is really good for you. Listen. Wait, wait, give me a second. Okay, yeah, I was just making sure that you could hear the audio.
But getting to that instant light wasn't instant ATLL. And the stuff you sent over about the light bulb itself, about Swan, about Edison, man, it proves how anything bitty simple the whole thing was. Hmm. Totally. It's like we're about to show everyone that making the light bulb wasn't just one aha moment.
So yeah, that's just a small sample of it, but it is pretty cool. Like again, this one was, for example, about the invention of the light bulb, as you could hear there. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty impressive. Not just the audio, because of course we've been able to generate audio since forever. We've been able to generate sort of like audio with emotion relatively recently, but put it together these like interactions that sound okay. Like if you somebody gives that to me and they don't tell me it's a AI, I might don't even realize, right? So yeah, that's pretty cool use case. It was pretty popular also online. Now talking about these useful uh, things, tools, AI features. OpenAI introduced Canvas. I have not had the chance to work with it, only see the demos and read a little bit about in this announcement. But I think it's a pretty cool feature. And basically, let me show you. Let's see if there's a hopefully, yes. Here, so it's on ChatGPT interface. It allows you to design notes to also, once you have the note, you have this button that will let you suggest edits, adjust the length, the reading level, polish it, or add emojis. Which, even though it doesn't sound like a lot, it's definitely something that a lot of people will find useful. People that use ChatGPT on a daily basis, they probably find themselves in the situation where they have to be like, no, like keep everything as is, but change this part because I didn't like this. Or no, I would like it to be with a different tone. And then sometimes they just don't get the same response or they get something different. And it's complicated. They have to go back, they have to copy paste, they have to talk again. And the whole idea of ChatGPT is to reduce the friction between person and AI tool as much as they can. You can see these in things like, for example, they remove the login sign in before you could use ChatGPT. You don't even have to have an account to be able to use it. They make their best models as soon as they're like cheap enough. They make it available for everybody without having to pay for the plus or the education or whatever type of subscription, right? So that's pretty cool. Again, the whole idea is to reduce friction and yeah, they also allow you to do some coding in Canvas. And in here you have another example. It's a very similar thing. Instead of notes, you have, of course, a piece of code where you can tell it which parts you want to change. You can physically change it yourself, which is also very important. And then you can put this where you want. You can, of course, use their oh wait, I can't pause this interpreter to run it, I believe. And let's see, I lost the this. Okay, code review, and I guess then yeah, basically it just does a code review same way that you would just copy paste and tell it like, tell me ChatGPT, what can I do better here? Let's see, what was the other one? Fix, okay, port to a language. You can add comments. That's pretty cool. Let it go again because I still lost two of the features. I couldn't read that fast. Hmm. I personally work a lot with coding and ChatGPT. It just makes it faster. It helps me get there sooner and maybe like notice things that I couldn't notice. So I can definitely see myself using this. I also know a lot of people that they probably don't know how to code, so they go to ChatGPT and they're able to build things. But then when there needs to be, wait 1 second, let's see the features once more. So code review, port to a language, fix bugs, add logs, and add comments. Okay, cool. What I was saying is some people that they become enabled by the AI so they can build small apps or they can build small scripts. But sometimes there's something they want to adjust, but they just don't have the experience. And then they would go to ChatGPT and ask it to fix it, and it would give the whole thing, or it would just give the very specific part that they need to change. But then they wouldn't know how to change it, or they would copy paste, for example, in Python, and then you would have indentation issues, and they don't fully understand this thing. So again, there's a lot of different points of view on how this is useful. I'm just sharing a few of the ones that I'm aware of, so that's pretty cool. Uh, We train the model to collaborate as your creative partner. That's super, super cool. In here, there are some benchmarks. I'm not going to read these. I just like the whole premise of Canvas as pushing more this ChatGPT as a collaborator. I've been always advocate for that idea. So definitely think it's something that's pretty cool. Now we're gonna stay on OpenAI for a little bit, and then actually we'll go back to it at the end. I just want to talk about their dev day. They already host their dev day in San Francisco. There's gonna be dev day in London on the 30th. Actually, I'm gonna be there, so I would love if anybody else is gonna be there that they're watching this. You can send me a message. I'm gonna share my socials at the end, and we can connect. It would be awesome to meet some people there. But yeah, so during the one in San Francisco, they introduced the real-time API, which for those who don't know is this API that allows you that using a WebSocket to have real-time conversations with low latency. Because before to do this, someone probably had to transcribe an audio using something like Whisper, then pass the text to a text model for inference, so they would like reason or whatever, then get the model's output, and then use a text to speech to get the speech out. And this, of course, the more steps you have, the larger the inference is. And I know there's a lot of use cases that require low latency, like for example, those agents that they want you to call instead of like a customer service agent. And so this approach basically, of course, completely like eliminated the emotion on the text because you're on or on the speech, sorry, because you're passing it to text. And like I said, a lot of latency. By the way, I'm reading from here just so you know. And with this API, now you can handle the entire process with a single API call, and you have all this like emotion and all these accents into it. It is still slower than a human response, so we're not there yet. But it's already one, super practical, two, super useful, and three, pretty cool if you ask me. Under the hood, you have GPT-4o managing the thinking, I would call it, and you have a persistent WebSocket that allows you to have this like live connection. So yeah, there's some examples here. Let me play this one. Oh wait, there's no audio.
But now, and literally this month, this is possible.
It is goosebumpy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right. I'm Tushar Vashisht. I'm the founder and CEO of Healthify. So we started 10 years ago with this vision of putting a health coach in every human being's pocket. We've got like 3 billion people overweight now, and there are not enough nutritionists, trainers, coaches to help people achieve their fitness and wellness goals. And so the only way we feel that the world can be healthified is using tech and using AI.
Yeah, my name is Abhijit. I'm the CTO for Healthify Me. When Voice came out, at least back in May when the announcement happened, we kept wondering whether function calling will be part of it or that's going to be a separate release that will happen later. We were pleasantly surprised to see function calling. And boom, here we go.
And so this would have taken you how long before?
This could have taken us weeks to get it sorted, but now I think we got everything up and running in a matter of about 3 days.
So this is absolutely fresh off our engineering dev system.
Yeah.
And if the demo gods are kind to us, hopefully it'll work right now.
Hello, Ria.
Hey, Abhijit. How's it going?
Going well. I'm here with Tushar, figuring out what to do for lunch. खाने में क्या खाएं?
All right, Abhijit. Here are some delicious and nutritious recommendations for lunch.
रिया एक बात कर यार, देख अभी 1 बजने वाला है और हम लोग यहीं पे निकलने वाले हैं मिशन बे के आसपास, तो कुछ और आइडियाज बताना.
Bilkul, Abhijit. Since you're in Mission Bay, how about exploring some local options?
I personally hope to see a world where we can fight obesity, celebrate healthy eating, empower and educate people to make better decisions around food and fitness.
Healthify the world, right?
Healthify the world.
Thank you.
So yeah, that was a demo of an application already using the real-time API, which is pretty nice. I'm not gonna play another video because it was a little bit longer than I expected. But it's pretty cool. In here you have the pricing, so we can move on to the next one, which is for input tokens, $5 per million token, and for output is 20, same for per million token. Audio input is priced at $100 per 1 million tokens, and output is at $200 per 1 million tokens. So this is approximately $0.06 per minute of audio input and 0.24 per minute of audio output. So okay, that's about it for this one. There were some other release on Dev Day. I'm not gonna open each one, but there was introducing vision to the fine-tuning API, from catching in the API, which I think is pretty cool, and model distillation in the API, which again, also pretty cool. Okay, let's actually there's another OpenAI, but I'd rather move it a little bit down the road. So let's go with Pika first. Let's go with Pika. For those who don't know, Pika is company that they've been developing AI video generation models for a while now. Right now we have Pika 1.5. So it's the latest version of this generator by Pika Labs. And let's see some examples. Let me open the audio here. I don't know, this sounded a little bit loud last time I played it, so I advise you to be careful with the volume. Okay. Yeah, I hope it wasn't too loud. It was a little bit loud to me, so yeah, hopefully it wasn't the case for you. But that's pretty cool. The audio seems a little bit about what you would expect. But one of the cool things that Pika 1.5 has is their effects. I started seeing a lot of videos that are using these effects on social media, and I was curious why all of the sudden were so many videos, and the videos consist of the following: one object that several things happen to it. It melts, it blows up, and I think there's also an audio with it that goes with each thing that's happening. And now my main suspect is Pika 1.5 because look at this. So these are what effects is. So inflated allows you to literally inflate any object in the video, as you can see in this one. Then you have exploded. I'm not even going to explain that one, but you have here a cake being victim of this effect. Then we have crush it. We just saw this one. It's pretty cool actually. Even the whole physics behind it are very interesting. You have melted. Again, not even gonna explain this one. That's also pretty well done. And you have squish it. No, there's two more. Sorry, squish it. There's audio in this one. And finally, wait. Actually, let me see that one more time. I want to see the hands. Okay, they're not so bad. I'm counting 6 fingers in this hand right now because you have these two. You have one more that's hidden here. 4, 5, 6. But good enough. I'm not going to be too critical anymore. And then you have Cakeify, which I think it's pretty funny, but also I understand why. I got sort of tired of being spammed with videos of people having objects that were all of a sudden cake. So it's very interesting that they chose to put it as one of the effects. Okay, now let's see. Wait, let me see. Yes. So we have one smaller research paper from Apple. And this is they're developing a new multimodal model called 1.5. Basically, this builds upon MM1 architecture. And I just wanted to show that Apple is still out there doing their thing. So this paper is about methods, analysis, and insights from multimodal LLM fine-tuning. And like I said, they present the MM 1.5, which is a new family, sorry, not a model, a family of multimodal large language models, and they're built upon MM1 architecture, as I said before. They adopt a data-centric approach for model training, systematic exploring, different data mixtures across the model training and lifecycle. So yeah, if you're interested about these kind of things, definitely take a look at it. They dive deeper into the whole architecture and how each thing works and which type of data is relevant for which type of or which part of the training process. So if you're trying to understand language models and this technology better, again, I recommend a lot to read a lot. This paper is a good point. Again, you might need to understand one or two things before you dive into this paper. But actually, I found it very digestible. Now, yes, let's talk about OpenAI. So, OpenAI just closed their largest VC round in history at 6.6 billion in funding at a 157 billion post money valuation. This is to accelerate their mission. Important to note that during this round, OpenAI, or well, Sam Altman convinced some of their investors, I'm not super sure if all of them, in that part of the investment is that they can't invest in other companies like, for example, Anthropic or XAI, right? So he's not just raising a ridiculous amount of money, which is already an incredible feat, but he's also ensuring that OpenAI stays at the front and at the center by, of course, reducing the risk of them losing both cash and talent in other companies. What's interesting about this, for example, is two things. This is, of course, I wouldn't say contingent. I don't know what the proper word is, but on OpenAI becoming a for-profit organization, which we had a conversation about this last time. And Apple decided not to invest in this one. There were some talks with Apple, but they decided not to go with this round. I don't know if the price tag was maybe too big or they have other plans in mind. Let's do a small recap on OpenAI's corporate structure. It's quite a complex structure, so try to bear with me. They have a board of directors, which controls this company called OpenAI Inc., public charity. OpenAI Inc. controls and owns OpenAI GP LLC, and at the same time, it owns a holding company for OpenAI nonprofit, plus employees, plus investors. Employees and other investors own part of the holding company. Again, OpenAI Inc. controls OpenAI GP LLC, and OpenAI GP LLC controls the holding company and controls OpenAI Global LLC. The holding company is a majority owner in OpenAI Global LLC, and Microsoft is as well. So, okay, that's the corporate structure of OpenAI. It's quite complex. So, as I mentioned, they just raised a huge round. They also secured a line of revolving credit of $4 billion, which brings their total liquidity to $10 billion. I think they would be paying around 6% on all the money that they borrow right away. But again, this $10 billion will, of course, allow them to continue operating at full speed. But then you have things like the CTO leaving, Mira Murati, you have the Chief Research Officer, Bob McGrew, and the Research VP, Barrett Soff, all leaving very, very suddenly. There's a lot of talks about that, about OpenAI putting first product development and technology development rather than, and of course, profits, rather than research and safety, which was the original mission, so to speak. And at the same time, they do have $10 billion in liquidity, but their latest financial documents said that they were expending around 300 million in monthly revenue, which is a very big increase from early 2023. I think it's 1,700% increase in revenue. Their annual sales, I think it's projected to 3.7 billion. and they're aiming to 11 billion next year, but they still are burning through a lot of money. For example, this year they're expecting to lose approximately 5 billion because high operation costs, of course. And these costs will just keep to increase because to achieve the goal that they want of building AGI, the infrastructure for that, it's going to be, and the data centers, of course, a lot. A lot, and we're talking more than anything we have seen. Mhm. So, of course, there's few things that can happen here. My prediction is that we'll see another round being raised relatively soon, and it's going to be bigger than this one, right? And we're talking like funding this whole AGI. No, I'm not going to call it dream, but mission can cost hundreds of billions of dollars. And actually, like late last year, I think Altman, and so he started pitching this like plan uh, that would allow them to create the compute power that the company needs to build this AGI. And he was meeting with investors from the UAE, computer chip makers from Asia, uh, of course, US officials, and he was proposing this like multi-trillion-dollar effort to build these computer chip factories, data centers, energy plants, I think it's the name, everywhere in the globe, including the Middle East. And some people, of course, like at the end of it didn't work out the way he wanted. I think ended up reducing to from multi-trillion to 100, like hundreds of billion effort. I don't know if it's ongoing or anything like that, but I also know that Sam Altman is reportedly also trying to persuade the Biden administration to build a massive network of data centers in AI data centers in the US, requiring up to 5 gigawatts of power, which it's a lot. And like, for example, each data center would need the power equivalent of 5 pressurized water nuclear reactors, which again, a lot of people might not dimension this, but when you're saying 5 nuclear reactors, it sort of gets the idea across. And the argument is that this is crucial for US national security and, of course, to maintain the technological edge over China. So, getting political here. Uh, at the same time, you have giants like Microsoft, which is the latest cloud provider to turn to nuclear energy, which they signed a 20-year power purchase agreement with Constellation Energy. And they were basically wanting to bring the 837 megawatts. Again, the other needed 5 gigawatts. This is an 837 megawatts 3 Mile Island unit, which is a nuclear power plant back online. You also have Amazon partnering with Talent Energy, acquiring cumulus of data center facilities for $650 million. And as part of the deal, they will eventually secure access to 960 megawatts of power. Um, and even like this, moving to the next one, OpenAI is reducing their dependency on Microsoft data centers, and at the same time, Microsoft is reducing their reliance on OpenAI technology as they increase to compete in selling AI products. The argument from OpenAI is Microsoft is not moving fast enough to provide or supply the company's compute power. So again, there's this lots of things going on. This is literally the beginning of what's going to design the fate of how AI is gonna develop in the next few years. I've heard a lot of things from like that it will happen, from also that like they're moving into for profit because potentially they will not be able to make it, so they're just moving to a for profit so everybody can get a cut. And yeah, but I guess like investors are in the losing end of that. uh, Regardless of what it is definitely clear that Altman managed to put most of the large investors on his side. Okay, maybe that's a wrong statement, but a lot of large investors on his side and bet that they will be able to make it. Again, it's not just one person. He's in charge of like raising all this money and so on, but it's the whole OpenAI effort, and they're betting that they will be able to make it. so much as to agree not to invest in competitors. Um, but yeah, so we're right now in the middle of these super important things developing, and they're gonna continue to develop. So we can't just sit down and see what happens. Of course, we can actively participate in it. But yeah, it's just super interesting. I actually, and I'm gonna self promote a little bit right now, but actually, I wrote like a few things about this situation because I really find it very interesting. I might be sharing some more things in my social medias, which I was saying earlier that if you're gonna be in London for OpenAI Dev Day, you can reach out to me. This is my LinkedIn, or you can also reach out in Twitter. Again, I'm in here like posting a lot of these things. I would actually love if some of you would reach out to me, share some things that you find that are interesting, that maybe we could talk here. I could invite you over so we have a conversation. It would be great. Um, but yeah, so that's the end of today's because we're almost over time. Thank you everybody who stayed, and thank you everybody who's watching. I'm happy to receive questions if there are any questions. I'm gonna invite you to join some of the hackathons. If somebody asks some questions in the chat, I'll be happy to answer. If not, I will end the stream. But yeah, so again, thank you everybody watching. Lab next. I'll get to that in a second. Right now we have some very cool hackathons online. Recently for O1, we were providing free access to O1 model, which is scarce right now, or almost you can't do that. It's already a very expensive model, so that was super cool opportunity. It's already finishing, so you might not be able to join anymore. But we have some other cool hacks coming, like Edge Runners 3.2, where we're gonna try to leverage the full Llama family 3.1, 3.2 to build Edge applications for Edge compute. Right, this is very cool. Like you need to leverage different models for different use cases. Um, we will have many more hackathons coming very soon. So and very cool hackathons. So please stay tuned. And yes, also shout out to LabLab Next. Of course, this is in collaboration with LabLab Next. These streams that we do, we invite some of their current startups. I believe they're starting soon their second cohort. So yeah, if you think you have a very cool AI product and you have a very good team and you're willing to put all the effort, then please go to LabLab AI, then click AI Accelerator, and then you can apply to LabLab Next. We would love to hear your projects. And with that, as I see no questions, we're gonna end the stream. So thank you very much, everybody, and see you in 2 weeks.